So today I wanted to talk about the antidote to suffering, which is very simple, and it is just the deep acceptance that we do suffer. The deep acceptance that humanity suffers. When the Buddha said, life is suffering, what I feel he meant is because, the reality is that life is bliss. And I don't know what his exact words were, but in my intuition, life is suffering. What it translates to in a practical way is the deep acceptance that human beings suffer. This is so vital and important because from what I have seen in myself and in the people that I work with, the thing that keeps suffering going on and on and on forever, that keeps these cyclical patterns of karma powered, is the denial of suffering. It's the avoidance of emotion. It's the denial and avoidance of the fact of human suffering. And I invite you to try this in your environment, whether you're around your family of origin, or a partner, a romantic partner, or just yourself. To just deeply meditate upon the sentence, I deeply accept that people suffer. When I say that, I feel my heart. Actually, I feel my heart and the Christ chakra like radiating, emitting energy. Why is that? Because when you deeply accept the fact of suffering, you kind of automatically, you automatically have compassion for all of humanity. And it's not even that you acquire compassion by deeply accepting and therefore no longer resisting the fact of suffering. You make contact with the part of you that already is all loving and compassionate, if you want to use that word. But by the deep acceptance, or by no longer denying the truth that people suffer, and therefore whatever people are projecting on you has nothing to do with you. But this is beyond the relative, and this is beyond duality. This is beyond trying to resolve your reactions to others or others' projections on you. This is deeper than that. This is really the end of form. True, deep acceptance of the suffering of human beings is the end of form. Because in that deep love, there no longer is two. There are not two. There's just the mechanism that divides life, the mechanism that creates two or other disappears, because there's just this deep happening of acceptance of the fact of suffering. And what's left is just love. And I have recently discovered this. There's so many ways to go about forgiveness. I love in the Course in Miracles, it says heaven is entered 2 by 2. But there's something much simpler than that, right? There's something much simpler than systematically going and forgiving every person, yourself, all the pieces of yourself, which is important, and that's one of the things that's helpful and useful to know. But so much simpler than that is just the deep acceptance of human suffering. The deep acceptance of your suffering. What does that do? What is the effect on that in you, right? In your own inner life? Real Tantra is making love to your shadow, in my opinion. And what I mean by that is making it a part of you. Becoming one, not two. So myself, loving awareness, and my shame, right, become one, because I deeply accept the suffering of humanity, and therefore I take my shame into myself, into my heart. I take my guilt into my heart. I take the politician in me into my heart, the prostitute in me into my heart, the tyrant in me into my heart, the manipulator, the seductress, all of the strategies, all of the reactions, all of the things that the ego does to avoid a sensation. I accept all of those things, and I accept every sensation and every emotion. I deeply accept the suffering of humanity. And in my experience, this has been such a quickening, right? Instead of, my experience up until recently was certain, if my vibration slipped into a certain frequency range, right? If I were to hit a stressor or my body was really tense and stressed, then I could still access like the mechanism of projection or blame onto certain people in my life. Not that I believed those projections or those blames, but they still appeared in my consciousness. But upon meditating on this, which I believe it's like the most powerful thing I've ever come across. It's the end of form. Because like I said, like when you deeply accept just this universal truth, and I believe maybe this is what the Buddha was saying. If you deeply accept that humanity suffers, you have nothing left but love, or you have nothing left but the part of you that was always already love. So meditate upon this truth and see how it affects your life. See if it doesn't really dissolve so much of the resistance in your life, the mechanisms of projection. And if it doesn't, it's not the goal. I'm not trying to achieve anything by sharing what I'm sharing. I'm just saying it had a big impact on me. Meditating upon this had a big impact on me, and I feel compelled to share with you the fruits of my contemplations. So I hope this is useful, and I hope you have a beautiful day.